everybody. It's Christy from Mentally Kills, and I'm back with another interview. Today I have Daniel with me, so I'm gonna bring him out for you guys to meet him. Hi, how you doing?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it. Um, so I usually like to start these interviews by giving you the floor and the chance to tell us about yourself.
Okay, so like you said, my name is Daniel. I'm from Germany. I'm 42 years old. And yeah, what else about me? I'm a builder and podcaster. I have a podcast all about UFOs and the paranormal. Yeah, there's not much more interesting about me, I could say, but if you want to know something, just ask.
I mean, that is very interesting to start. So, mental health wise, I know that we had spoken previously, and you said that you had an issue with depression before. Um, was that something that you went to like a therapist for, or is that something you kind of dealt with on your own?
Um, yes, I suffered from pretty bad depressions. Like when like I said, I'm 42 now. It was in my 20s, 2022, something like this. And it started from one day to the other. I went to bed on a Saturday as a normal person and woke up on Sunday with depressions. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I saw a doctor, emergency doctor, because I felt really bad, and I I thought about some pretty nasty stuff. I thought maybe I have a tumor in my head or something like that. I felt really bad, and I it felt heavy on my head, and so I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Did you drink last night?" And I said, "No, I didn't drink." And he asked me if I did drugs or something like that. I said, "No, I just feel like shit. I feel like shit." And he just smirked and gave me some pills to calm down,
Yeah.
and that didn't help. And a few days after that, I was in a car with my girlfriend back then, and we drove to town, and I started to panic in the car. And I didn't know why. It was like a panic attack, and it was because I was frightened. What's what could this be in my head? And I started to pull my hair out and bang on the car and on the glass and on the seats, and I was screaming. And so she drove me to the emergency room, and they gave me a shot, an injection, but I'm not positive what it was. I'm
It's probably some kind of tranquilizer just to calm you down.
Yeah.
That's my assumption, of course.
And then we went home, and they didn't say anything more. They didn't say much. They said, go to your normal doctor next day and tell him what was going on. So I slept pretty good. I had a good sleep, and because I felt better the next day, I didn't see the doctor. And maybe 2 weeks after that shot, it came back, but it came back even harder.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad, really bad. And I I don't know how to explain. I was so bad. I wanted to rip my face off and throw it somewhere. I felt really bad. And I went to the emergency room again. They gave me another shot, and they sent me to a special doctor,
Yeah.
which I did. And he just I had an X-ray from my head to make sure there's no tumor or something like that. And after that, we sat down, had a talk, and he asked me if I have problems with my job or my family or my girlfriend or my parents. And we talked a little bit, and it felt pretty good to talk. And he gave me pills, and actually, it was the only time I saw a doctor because of that, a special doctor because of that. psychiatrist, I think.
Mhm.
And it was the only time I saw him. He didn't say, come back and let's have more talks or something like that. No, it was the only time I saw him, and he gave me these pills. I think they were called, in German, it's Tavor, Tavor. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a pretty heavy.
So it's probably the equivalent here would be what is the name of it? Hold on one second. I don't remember the name.
So he told me not to take them too often because you can get addicted to them
Lithium. It would be
pretty
like
quick.
lithium here.
Yeah, lithium. Maybe, yeah, I think something like
Yeah.
that. He said, don't take them too often. Try to get through it without sometimes because you can get addicted pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh well, then
And
it was probably something like Vicodin or
maybe,
Percocet. Yeah, that's my guess. But meds, I mean, I try to stray away from meds when I talk to people about possible treatment options because I feel like it doesn't help you
yeah,
get to where you need to go. If anything, it just keeps you stable if you've had an episode
yeah.
um, and brings you kind of back. But what did you do then? Because, you tried the medicine, it didn't work. The doctor was clearly not interested. So, what did you do to kind of, bring yourself back and pull yourself up?
Well, first of all, the pills they helped, but
Mhm.
they it was pretty hard stuff, and you're not yourself anymore.
Yeah.
And I took them pretty often, so I got addicted to them. And the doctor wouldn't prescribe me any more of them, so I got them from the black market. I
Of
was
course.
addicted. I was addicted. I started drinking too and stuff like that. But yeah, someday I changed my mind and I said I want to get through without them, and I got rid of them. I lowered the dose, and someday I didn't have to take them anymore.
That's great.
And how did I get out? I until that point I had nothing in my life. Now it's music, and now it's podcast, and it's
Yeah.
writing. I'm writing novels and stories and stuff like that, and with
Very
my
cool.
podcast. And I was a singer for a few years. I told you, and now I have something to live for and put my energy in and get something out of it. I get reactions, and I get positive reactions, and that helped a lot. I started doing something. I started to push myself and force myself to do something, not just sit at home and be sad and be heavy. And yeah, like I said, I started to find something that I'm that I'm good at and started doing it.
That's beautiful. First of all, it takes a lot when you're in those moments and in those dark periods to just say, like, I'm not going to stay like this. I'm going to do something that makes me happy and just pull yourself out. It takes a lot. For some people, just getting out of bed, is an achievement because I've been there when it comes to those dark periods. So that takes a lot. So you should be proud of yourself for that to begin with. Um,
Thank you.
so your podcasts, why don't you tell me a little bit more about that? Because you kind of lit up a little bit when you talk about it. So
Yeah, definitely. It's good for me to have this podcast. I talk to a lot of different people. I talk to normal persons like you and me, and I have famous guests also, like Eric von Däniken with his ancient alien theories,
oh, cool.
and gives me a lot to think about. My head is always working, even
Hey,
if I'm in bed. I'm sure you can relate. When you're lying in bed at night, my head is always working, so I have to do something to not get into a depression again. I have
yeah.
always have to do something. I have to, when I'm not podcasting, I'm writing or I'm drawing. I do charcoal drawings, so portraits from faces and stuff like that. And
Awesome. So you found
I,
creative outlets to, kind of
yeah,
manage.
and you hear that a lot.
Yeah.
When people have depressions or other mental disorders, people are very creative. So yeah, I and another thing that's very important, and I did that multiple times. I did sort out my circle of friends, and
Yes.
I sorted out everyone that is not who is not good for me, and who didn't believe in what I do or who I am, or tried to
Support you.
pull me down in some kind of way. Like when I started this podcast 3 years ago, it was a different project, but it was similar to what I do now. And I had people telling me there's so many podcasts out there.
Oh yeah.
Why do you even try it? You will never be on the top, and people won't hear it. And I said, go fuck yourself. Piss off. Piss off. Why don't you believe in me? Why? Where's the reason to tell somebody you can't do stuff? I have
Right.
children. I have children. I have my oldest son is 21. The youngest
Oh.
daughter is 10. And I always tell my kids, if you have a talent, use it. Try to make something out of it. Maybe you can be self-employed someday. You can work from home. You don't have to be a builder like me, and get your bones fucked up and your back fucked up and your knees. So if you have a talent, use it. Try to make something out of it. Try, and don't let anybody pull you down and tell you can't do this, you can't do that. That's bullshit. Bullshit.
Right.
If you want to be, as a kid, you always want to be an astronaut or a firefighter or something, or a police officer. Yeah, why not? Try it. Try it. And if that doesn't work, try something else. But
Mhm.
try to
Keep
let
going.
it out, let everything out, and try it. I'm not laying on the deathbed someday, and I don't want to. You know, when I have to die someday, I'm. I want to make sure that I did everything that I wanted to do, and I want to sure also that I left out everything that I did not wanted to do. So I'm
Very
pretty
beautifully
cool with
said.
myself right now. I'm pretty cool with myself right now.
Yeah, that was very beautifully said.
Thank
So
you.
you're welcome. So, what is something that you are most proud of that you were able to achieve?
First of all, of course, my children,
Of course.
and of course, and in case they're listening,
Yeah, just in
and
case.
just in case. Yeah, I'm most proud of that I made a big step many years back when I was 17 and I left my home because I didn't feel good at home with my parents. My parents and me, we were like cat and dog, and we fought a lot, and somehow I felt it's not good for me. It's not good for my head, for myself, and I had to leave, and it's nothing to be proud of. But what came afterwards? That I managed my life, and that I, yeah,
I think
got my
that is
shit,
something to be
my
proud
shit
of.
together.
I think that is something to be proud of because, it's your parents. You think, like, I have to love them no matter what, even if I don't feel good. And that's not true. A lot of people don't realize that. You still love them, of course, but doesn't mean you need to live with them or, contact them often. You keep your distance and go about your life in a way that makes you happy. And that takes a lot of strength because of that reason, because they're your parents. So I think that's really something to be majorly proud of, to be able to, sever that toxic line that you had going and, kind of stand on your own and be your own person.
Yeah,
So that
that's
takes a lot.
that's. I think I'm proud of that. That I made it. It was hard. It was not always easy. So I left home and I didn't know how to pay a bill, or who do I contact for my, I don't know, for my bills, and had to learn so much stuff when I was living alone. And yeah, even though I made it, even though it was hard, but I made it.
That's
And
right.
yeah, I achieved a lot of things that I dreamed of and that I wanted to do, and that I held back for a long time. But now I did a lot of stuff that I wanted to do and never did to a certain point.
Yeah.
I have a few things that I'm very proud of. Yeah.
Beautifully said. So, for the last couple minutes, I like to give the floor to my interviewees to just give, a word of encouragement or any kind of message you want to give out, any place to follow you so people know where you're at. So, I'm going to do that now. I just knocked the bottle of water over, sorry.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to do that now and then we'll end our interview. Okay?
Yeah, what can I say? Guys, don't let anybody try to pull you down. Be yourself. Like I said, if you have a talent, try to make something out of it. And never ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something. You can do everything you want. What you can imagine, you can make it. So it's like manifestation. If you have if you have a goal and you can see it with your inner eye, you can reach it. I think this would be my message to all of you out there. Yeah, and if you're into UFO stuff and into the paranormal, try maybe take a look at my podcast. It's a German podcast project, but we have podcasts in English too. It's called in German Sagenhaft und Sonderbar. Maybe maybe you can put a link out there. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for doing an interview. And I will get your link and I will add it in the description so people can find your podcast. Because I think for the English speakers, they probably heard you say that and go, how do I spell that?
Yeah,
So, so I will get the links for anybody who wants to listen. I know there are a lot of people here who like to listen to UFO stuff. So I'm sure it'll probably be a big hit here as well. But again, I want to thank you so much for doing the interview. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to give my little final word and then I'll cut the broadcast and then I'll be right back with you.
thank you.
Mhm. So, to sum it up, it is so important to number one, cut negative ties with people who are not benefiting your mental health. It doesn't matter who they are. It does not mean you have to hate them. It doesn't mean you have to dislike them. It just means you want them to eat, but not at your table. You have to do what's best for you. If that's taking meds, if that's not taking meds, if that's seeking creative outlets instead to deal with your or manage your symptoms, do it. Because the only person who is going to maintain your mental health at the end of the day is you. So, with that being said, my name's Christy, and I'll see you on the next interview.